My pleasure to introduce Andrew Nilsson, and he is the partner manager of Gurtam North America, and he's going to spend a bit of time talking to us about the telematics as a way to improve customer service. I'll turn it over to you immediately, Andrew.
Thank you for the introduction, Fred, and thank you to the IMC for organizing another great event. I'm delighted to be here with you today to discuss how we at Wialon use telematics to improve customer service by solving global challenges. First, let me briefly introduce my company, Gurtam. Established in 2002, we currently have more than 300 employees across the globe, with our headquarters in Vilnius, Lithuania. I'm based out of our Boston, Massachusetts office, where I work with our North American Wialon partners. Our flagship product, Wialon, is a comprehensive platform for telematics and IoT, available as both a cloud and server-based solution. As one of the largest GPS tracking platforms in the world today, Wialon has more than 3.4 million devices connected globally, and we track more than 100 million miles each day. We're hardware agnostic, and we're approaching 3,000 integrated devices from 650 plus hardware manufacturers. We do not work directly with end users, but instead operate through channel partners. Today, our global Wialon community services clients in 151 countries. As many of you here today would agree, telematics and IoT in general can be beneficial to virtually any business, domain, or country. It is achieved with the help of flexible software like we offer with Wialon, as well as integrators' expertise, connectivity options, and a diverse hardware selection. Applying the benefits of telematics to a business might include, for example, using fuel control and automation to make your company more sustainable, thus saving money and also increasing revenue. It all depends on how you harness the power of telematics. So now, let me share with you some practical examples from around the globe to explain how telematics can help business owners cut costs, improve service quality, and ultimately satisfy customers by solving their unique challenges. As we all know, COVID-19 reshaped our lives in one way or another. It forced us to change our approach to virtually every situation. In the summer of 2020, a Canadian Wialon partner faced the shutdown of a large construction project due to a government-imposed lockdown. The construction site in question covered a total area of 67 square kilometers with more than 2,000 employees working on site. In order to resume this project, it was mandated that they enact the required safety measures with proven results. Keeping this in mind, the company decided to look for a telematics solution that would allow them to track and manage their cleaning crew. They wanted to ensure that usual staff resources like trailers, bathrooms, and hand washing stations were cleaned or disinfected a specific number of times during an 8-hour shift. The public health authorities would only allow them to resume on-site operations if they could provide detailed reports showing the necessary steps were taken. In addition, they required an alert system that could quickly inform management whenever the cleaning supplies, such as disinfectant or paper towels, were required throughout the site. Our Canadian Wialon partner developed a custom solution for this client, which fulfilled all of the government requirements. Their solution included the use of our mobile app WiaTag, which turns any phone into a GPS tracker. This was installed on the mobile phones of cleaning personnel. They also developed a custom solution which was integrated with Wialon using our open API. This custom platform was used as a central database where all the cleaning events were registered and reports were generated. Initially, they tried to create geofences which would help them get alerts whenever the cleaner entered a specified area. However, that was not efficient for them. So a unique QR code was installed on every asset which needed to be cleaned or refilled. With WiaTag, the staff could access these QR codes and alert management whenever they were running out of supplies like paper towels or sanitizers. They used reports in Wialon to record all cleaning operations that needed to be done on a daily basis. Our partner was remarkably able to create and implement this solution within 48 hours, and they trained the staff themselves on how to use WiaTag on their phones. With this unique solution, the client benefited in many ways, including compliance with all regulations to ensure the health and safety of more than 2,000 employees on site. They were able to prove that all regulations were fulfilled through custom reports submitted to the Public Health Authority. We can only imagine the potential financial losses the client was facing due to ongoing delays with the reopening of this site. Ultimately, the client was thrilled to find a successful solution for this challenge, and they plan on implementing similar projects in the future, long after COVID hopefully leaves us for good. Next, let's look at an agricultural challenge from Australia. A leasing company offered special machinery for hay baling. This machinery presses the hay and packs it into piles. The company offered its services to farms that needed to turn the grass into hay piles. Each farm usually rents this equipment as the machinery is expensive, typically around $175,000 to $250,000 each. The hay balers are in the fields for 24 hours a day to finish their work before the end of the season. Due to this tight schedule, it is essential to make sure that the machinery is utilized properly to prevent breakdowns. The number of hay bales produced must be calculated because farmers pay not only for the time they rent machinery, but also for the number of bales. Before this project implementation, the customer could not directly obtain this data, or it was sent with delays and often inaccurate. Management couldn't reach the location if there was an issue with reporting, as the equipment was often leased by farmers in remote areas. Conflicts arose with farmers who reported fewer bales produced, and it was impossible to track rebales. The pile would often fall apart, and somebody would have to fix it manually. The rebale would then not be counted. GPS trackers were installed on hay balers to track their location, speed, as well as additional parameters and the data from the other equipment. A sensor was added to calculate the rotation of the arm inside the baler, and 4 rotations meant that 1 bale was made. The counter was connected to the tracker and sent info about the number of piles produced. A standard I-button reader was used to identify drivers and connect them to the work performed. A buzzer was set up to notify drivers about the necessity to use identification tablets. Waterproof boxes and proximity sensors completed the hardware part of the solution. All the data was sent to Wialon. Geofences were created to know how many bales could be produced for a specific area. This allowed returning customers to compare how many bales were made versus the previous year, and also plan and estimate future results. Notifications were used to see if the bale numbers dropped off. A special button was installed to calculate rebales. As soon as the driver pressed the button, the rebale was counted. It's also recorded in Wialon via the notifications module. The Wialon reports module was used to show management the number of bales and rebales. This solution was implemented in the middle of a baling season, so there wasn't much time to install the equipment. That's why the client chose this solution type instead of relying on the built-in CAN bus, as the GPS trackers and sensors were less expensive and quicker to install. This project actually won our annual IoT Project of the Year competition in the agriculture category. Their solution allowed the leasing company to accurately calculate the number of hay bales produced and report it to management in a timely fashion. The data was collected automatically, so there was no human factor that could influence the reports. Plus, the tedious back and forth between drivers and clients was eliminated, and the reports were used as proof of the completed job and also as a reference when analyzing any fraud attempts or customer issues. Let's move to Tbilisi, Georgia, where a customer faced a very common challenge. This time, an IoT solution was needed for a company providing public utility services, including waste collection, recycling, collection maintenance, and outdoor lighting network operations. They installed several underground garbage containers across the city and needed a solution incorporating real-time monitoring of all containers so they could dispatch their garbage trucks only when those containers were full. For this project, our Wialon partner in Georgia created unique ultrasonic sensors working through batteries, GSM technology, and standard micro SIM cards. The sensor was installed under the container's lid, and it could detect if the container was full. All sensors were connected to the company's server, which was designed for up to 10,000 data transmissions and up to 100,000 measurements. The battery life was up to 10 years, depending on the transmission settings. After sending data, the sensors would go into sleep mode until the next data transmission, thereby saving the battery charge. This was essential because bringing power to all the garbage containers in the city was associated with great difficulty and significant costs. As a result, whenever the containers were full, the responsible parties received alert notifications and could take corresponding actions all in real time. quality of life in the city improved, as residents didn't have issues with overflowing garbage containers, unpleasant smells, or nasty rodents. The trucks were sent only when the containers were full, so the company saved on wasteful trips from picking up garbage when containers were only partially full. The customer got a solution that saved money, and thanks to IoT, also improved city life. Next, I'll take you to Africa, where a multinational corporation faced the problem of monitoring and maintaining diesel generators in remote areas of Tanzania. There was enormous difficulty realizing a smooth supply of electricity, which affected the performance of the generators. The necessity to monitor these generators was evident, but it was expensive to constantly send employees to these remote locations. That's why the company wanted to have a GPS tracking solution which could react instantly to the problems as they appeared. A Wialon partner from Africa successfully solved this task by using a system of components combined to enable control over fuel level, power supply, and regular maintenance. The level of diesel fuel in the tanks was monitored, and at the same time, different sensors controlled the temperature and other generator parameters. All of the data from the generators was collected in Wialon, and the sensor data was visualized and monitored by a Wialon-based app named Sensilator. This was configured in such a way that each tab served as a dashboard for the generator, and if any malfunction arose, the dispatcher would receive the notification and send a repair team to fix it. Expenses were reduced because now the equipment was maintained and repaired in an efficient manner. There was no need to increase staff or spend money on wasteful trips to these remote locations. This Wialon-based solution enabled the customer to provide a constant supply of electricity, which not only saved money, but also increased profits as the recipients of the electricity were satisfied with their service and didn't suffer constant losses caused by frequent power outages. This example shows that telematics influences not only the segment it's physically applied to, but it also brings optimization to other parts of the business. In this case, controlling generators influenced the stability of various businesses and households dependent on these generators, and it also bolstered the electricity supplier's reputation. Finally, let me take you to the quiet island of Ibiza in Spain's Balearic Islands. There was a transport company operating in Ibiza, which assists tourists and businessmen arriving on the island. The company performs trips from the airport to hotels and back, as well as to various excursions and business meetings. While that seems simple at first, they encountered a number of problems. First, they realized passengers couldn't find the pickup points because they weren't described properly. Then, they would have issues locating the correct bus. At times, passengers had to wait much longer than expected for the bus to arrive, which negatively affected the company's reputation and also resulted in irritated clients. Further, management had a difficult time ascertaining how much work was performed by their staff, which resulted in pay discrepancies. Our Wialon partner from Spain solved these problems by using Wialon and a customer management system that they integrated with Wialon. The partner installed GPS trackers on all buses. Using the Wialon app for iOS and Android, the customer was able to monitor the working hours and location of their drivers. By using notifications and geofences, their dispatcher could easily identify which vehicles were currently unavailable. Passengers received all relevant information from the customer management system, including pickup time, location, and the bus registration number. They also received a locator link, which tracked the bus's position in real time. The results here were clear. The company's reputation improved as their various clients had clear communication at all times regarding the bus's location, schedule, and route, thus resulting in satisfied customers. The company's services were now transparent and professional. Also, their employees' morale improved, as there was better organization regarding their hours, pay, and expected routes. This is yet another example of how IoT can transform businesses across the globe, while at the same time, significantly improve the customer experience. Thank you all so much for your time today, and thank you again to the IMC. Let's see if we have time for a couple quick questions, Fred.
So, Andrew, that was great. It was like a travel log of use cases. So,
Yeah.
very, very, very well done. So I encourage anybody to enter a question in the question dialog box. In the first one we have here is, you mentioned the IoT Project of the Year competition in the presentation. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. The IoT Project of the Year competition was started by Gurtam in 2020, and it rewards outstanding telematics or IoT projects across the globe. We accept entries from any country and industry, and there are 17 different categories where you can submit your projects, such as cold chain transportation, public safety, and personal monitoring, to name a few. The deadline for this year's competition is July 26th, and you can submit your project at iot-project.com or visit our blog at gurtam.com, which has a post with all of the relevant information.
Very good. One more time for one more, I think. So Wialon looks very, very open, and you mentioned something about hardware. Can you really tell us what hardware can be used with the Wialon-based projects?
Absolutely. So yeah, Wialon is a hardware agnostic platform. So we currently have more than 2,700 devices, representing about 650 plus manufacturers that are integrated with Wialon. And further, our partners frequently request new device integrations, and we integrate these devices at no charge. Every month, there are new device integrations thanks to our great hardware team and the suggestions from our Wialon partner community.
Very good. Well, Andrew, that's all we have today. But for a member spotlight presentation, this was top shelf. Really, really appreciate your time and energy you put into this, and we thank you for being an IMC member and sharing with us all these use cases.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.